I'm Patricia Korchinski, the Publicity Witch for Marketing Witchcraft. The words that kept coming up over and over again for me this week were video and fear. So this is me getting over my fear of video to talk about fear. Because I've had a lot of experience with fear. And I've had a lot of experience with overcoming it. You see fear stopping some amazing people from pursuing publicity. And so I'm hoping that if it is fear or misunderstanding that is holding you back from seeking publicity, that these 3 steps will help you in overcoming that fear. You can apply these 3 tips to almost any fear, but I'm going to be speaking specifically about the fear of getting publicity. So step 1 is identifying all fears related to an action. When it comes to publicity, there are some common fears. Now, whether you have a common fear or an uncommon fear, it doesn't really matter in the scheme of things. What's important is that you identify your fears around the action, so your fears around publicity. But some of the common ones are people will come up to me in public. I won't be able to handle that much extra business. My competitors are going to copy me. People are going to think I'm uppity and full of myself. So step 2 is to tackle those fears that you've identified and tackle them one at a time. The idea is to strike them off your list and to shrink that fear to make it become more manageable. So for example, people will come up to me in public. The reality is, you're not going to likely get more people coming up to you in public than are currently coming up to you if you have radio ads or newspaper ads. It's just not something that happens. And usually when it does happen, it's family and friends and people who you don't mind having coming up to you in the first place. I won't be able to handle the extra business. It's a legitimate concern for solopreneurs, nail salons that are, if you're a solopreneur with a small beauty-based business, a small service-based business, yes, that could be a concern. I don't know how to write them. Well, that one is a very easy fix. There are 1,000 ways, including the press release magic kit that you can buy. It will teach you how to write them. I can personally teach you how to write them, or you can go to the library and pick up one of the thousands of books that has been written on how to write a press release. Just make sure it's a more recent one so that you get the extra juice that comes from the internet and the social media and those sorts of things. But a basic press release you can learn how to write at the library. So I don't know how to write them. That can't be on your fear list anymore. What if they laugh at me? What if who laughs at you? Really, there isn't a whole... People don't read the paper or listen to the radio or read their magazines looking for stories to laugh at. For the most part, they admire the people that get the coverage. There isn't a whole lot of negative energy that comes out of being a focus of an article or a piece of media coverage. So that is another fear that you can safely put to rest. What if it doesn't work? Well, if it doesn't work, you try again. Do you not advertise in the paper because it might not work? Do you not advertise on the radio because it might not work? Do you not send out postcards? Do you not do email? Lots of times the things we do don't work or don't work as well as expected. And there's times when you don't get the response that you anticipated. That doesn't mean you don't do it. That means you learn from the experience. And for those of you who are avoiding publicity because you don't want people talking about you, people are going to talk about you whether you want them to or not. Publicity is a way to help drive the conversation in a direction that you control. And so those are some of the more common fears that people have over publicity. You might have your own unique ones, but the idea of step 2 is to tackle each of those fears one at a time and make them manageable for yourself. And it's in completing this step 2 that you want to acknowledge if you are making excuses. It's okay if you don't want to be famous, but in business, you have to put yourself out there in some way or another, whether it's publicity, social media, even traditional newspaper, radio, television. Any of that is putting yourself out there. And so you don't want to limit yourself and self-sabotage. So you want to keep that in mind as you move on to step 3. In the end, it does end up being as simple as that. Ultimately, in the end, it does break down to being as simple as that. Sometimes you have to feel the fear and do it anyways, and hopefully through the first 2 steps, you've crushed those fears or shrunk those fears down to a reasonable level that you can feel the fear and do it anyways, because it is worth it in the end. When you get right down to it, I don't think anyone regrets overcoming a fear. If you move forward and work through these 3 steps and start working towards getting publicity, you aren't going to regret it. Nobody regrets overcoming a fear. I hope that you've found these 3 tips valuable and that you'll be able to apply them to your life and business, and that you will want to connect with me. And the best way to do that is visit me over on my website, www.marketingwitchcraft.com.